Hello students, in this video we are going to learn division of a whole number by a whole number decimal quotient, where the quotient is a decimal number. Before we start, let's remember any whole number is a decimal number whose decimal part is 0. We can add as many useless zeros as we want if needed. Example, 23 is a whole number. It's equal to 23.0. A whole number has 0 as decimal part. Equals 23.00 equals 23.000. We can add as many useless zeros as we want. Equals 23.00. We can add zeros infinitely. It depends on the situation if we need to add these zeros. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to continue a division operation and obtain a quotient that is a decimal number. Let's start with example 1. Set up and calculate the operation 12 divided by 5. In a division operation, the first number, we call it dividend, capital D. And the number that we are dividing by, we call it divisor, small d. And when I want to divide the dividend by the divisor, I put the dividend always to the right, and I place the divisor always to the left. Now let's set up this operation. 12 divided by 5. First, we start as usual. 1 is less than 5, so I take the 12. 12 is not a multiple of 5. Just before the 12, we have 10. 5 times what equals 10? It's 2. I write 2 in the quotient. Then I find the remainder. 2 minus 0, it's 2. 1 minus 1, it's 0. Usually, we stopped the division here. It's 2, remainder 2. This year, we are going to learn how to continue this division. So how we do it? Remark, to continue the division, you add a useless 0.0 in the dividend. So first, since 12 is a whole number, we can its decimal part is 0. So first we add to the dividend 0.0. Then I slide this 0 to continue the division. Now attention, when you slide the 10th digit, it means the first digit after the decimal point. Here 0 is the 10th digit. It's the first digit after the decimal point. When I slide it, you place a decimal point in the quotient before you continue the division. So here, before I slide the 0, I need to put or place a decimal point in the quotient. Then I slide this 0. Now we obtain the number 20. So here be careful, I don't slide the point, I only slide the 0. We obtain 20. Now I continue the division as usual. I do 20 divided by 5. 20 is a multiple of 5. And 5 times what equals 20? It's 4. Now I place a 4 in the quotient. And of course the 4 should be after the point. Now I find the remainder. 20 minus 20 equals 0. And our division has ended here because the remainder is 0 and the quotient is 2.4. So 12 divided by 5 equals 2.4. 2.4 is the quotient. We represent it by capital Q. And 2.4 here is a decimal number, so the quotient is a decimal quotient. And since the remainder of this division is 0, we say that the quotient is an exact quotient. So the remainder is 0, so we have an exact quotient. But of course, it's not an exact division, because in an exact division, the quotient should be a whole number while the remainder is 0. Here, the quotient is not a whole number, so we just call it an exact quotient, but the division is not exact. Example 2. Set up and calculate 23 divided by 4. So 23 is the dividend, we write it to the right, and 4 is the divisor. Now let's start. 23 is not multiple of 4. We have 20. 4 times what equals 20? It's 5. We write 5 in the quotient. Now we find the remainder. 3 minus 0 is 3, and 2 minus 2 equals 0. Now here we have no more digits to slide, so to continue the division, we add 0.0. Then we slide the 0. But here, be careful. Before we slide the 0, I place a decimal point in the quotient. Then I slide the 0. I obtain 30. 30 divided by 4 is not multiple of 4. We have 28, a multiple of 4 just before 30, and 4 times 7 equals 28. Now I find the remainder. Here I don't have to borrow, I can do it mentally. I need 2 to reach the 30. Or you can do 0 is less than 8. I borrow from the 3, 10 minus 8 it's 2, 2 minus 2 is 0. Or you can do it mentally. 30 minus 28 equals 2. Here the remainder is not 0 yet. So I need to continue the division. And how do I do it? Yes, I have the right to add another useless 0, because 23 is also equal to 23.00. So remark, I keep on adding useless zeros as many as needed. I don't place another decimal point in the quotient. So here when I add another useless 0, I don't place another decimal point in the quotient. I place the decimal point once when I slide the 10th digit only. Now I slide the 0, I obtain 20, and we continue as usual. 20 divided by 4, 20 is a multiple of 4, and 4 times 5 is 20, and the remainder is 0. Once the remainder is 0, my division has ended, and here the quotient is 5.75. It's a decimal number having 2 digits after the point. Now let's continue with our last example, example 3. Set up and calculate the division operation 91 divided by 8. So first I set up the operation. 91 is the dividend, 8 is the divisor. Here to perform this division, I start from left to right. Here I notice 9 is greater than 8, so I can take the 9 by itself. 9 is not multiple of 8, just before the 9 we have 8, and 8 times 1 equals 8, and the remainder is 1. Let's continue. Now I need to slide the 1. But here be careful, 1 is still in the whole part. It's not after the decimal point. So I don't put a decimal point yet. When I slide the 1, I obtain 11. 11 is not multiple of 8. Just before the 11, we have 8. We write the 8 just below the 1's digit. And 8 times what equals 8? It's 1. And mentally, 11 minus 8 equals 3. Now I don't have any more digits to slide. And to continue the division, I need to add 0.0 in the dividend. And before I slide the 10th digit, the 0 here, I add a decimal point in the quotient. Then I slide the 0. I obtain 30. 30 divided by 8. 30 is not multiple of 8. Just before 30 we have 24. 8 times what equals 24? It's 3. Now let's find the remainder. Let's do it mentally, or you can do 10 minus 4, it's 6. Here I borrowed from 3. 2 minus 2 is 0. So the remainder is 6. Here, the remainder is not 0 yet. So I need to add another useless 0. Then I slide it. I obtain 60. And of course, I don't place another decimal point. I place it once when I slide the 10th digit only. 60 divided by 8. 60 is not multiple of 8. Just before 60 we have 56. 8 times what equals 56? It's 8 times 7. Now let's find the remainder. We can do it mentally also. 60 minus 56 equals 4. Here also my remainder is not 0 yet. So I need to add a third useless 0. Then I slide it. I obtain 40. Now 40 divided by 8. 40 is a multiple of 8. We write 40. 8 times what equals 40? It's times 5. And the remainder is 0. Once the remainder is 0, my division has ended. Here it took me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to finish this division operation, and of course the quotient must contain 5 digits, same as the number of steps. And here we obtain a decimal quotient 11.375, and we needed 3 useless zeros to finish this division. This is the end of our video. Thank you for watching.